This is Terra Papers, part 2 of Terra Papers 1. Hopefully I don't have any interruptions because I have these little cats that don't seem to want to have me get my story across here. So this is several takes now. Now remember, the Snake Queens and the from Orion and the Canis Kings from Sirius decided to form a union and peace in the ninth passageway. So we have the first king, who's AnAn, and he has a brother called ALAL. AnAn has a grandson called Anu. ALAL will have a grandson, we'll just call him Zeus because they change the names every once in a while through this Terra Paper story done by Robert Morningsky. Please see Jrgenius.ca for details. There's a link on Terra Papers. Okay, and November the 15th, 2009 is when the story will be posted. Okay, so wish me luck. Now, okay, we have AnAn, who's king at the Ar Palace. That is the palace down near Orion and Sirius. Okay, and he makes his brother a royal cupbearer to keep an eye on him. So what happens is that the royal cupbearer ALAL assassinates his brother AnAn, and he becomes king for a while. Okay, so what happens is that the throne is stolen from the grandson of AnAn. He's called Anu, and this guy you'll see throughout the story of Terra Papers 1. Okay, so Anu overthrows his uncle, granduncle, or whatever called AnAn, and he puts Zeus beside him as a royal cupbearer, just to keep an eye on him as well too. So they're killing each other off, these Canis kings. That's the dog star Sirius. Okay, so Anu says that the throne is rightfully his, and because his actual bloodline was originally placed as king first. So ALAL was overthrown by Anu. He takes off to this new solar system called Eridanus. And it gets changed a couple of times, goes to Eridu and Earth after a couple of wars and stuff too. But there's this nice planet called Tiamat there. And ALAL makes a palace there at Tiamat because Anu's now in the Ar Palace. And so what happens is that Anu is wants to form a truce with the Snake Queens. Sorry. The Snake Queens want to make sure that these guys don't start killing each other off. So ALAL is at this new solar system, and he's with his grandson Zeus. Okay, Zeus becomes a very good warrior, and Anu at the palace at Ar calls his palace the Pure Palace, and the one at Tiamat, which is in the Eridu system, is the Impure Palace. Okay, so Zeus is always trying to overthrow Anu, and they're at this palace at in the Eridu system called Tiamat, and they hire an engineer, a geneticist scientist, to rebuild everything and make everything pretty again. So creation. So they do all these implants and engineering to rebuild this planet to make it a nice little paradise for them. Okay, so what happens is that now Anu has two sons. One's called ENKI. It's the same thing, Ea, or you can call him Enki. He's an older brother. He's also a geneticist scientist, and he also has another son called ENLIL. So he's younger, but he's of the bloodline because Anu had ENLIL with his half-sister, so his half-sister must be Orion bloodline. And to have the Sirius Orion bloodline is much safer to have that than to have just, I think, Ea must be just straight out Sirius dog star. So Ea knew that he would never be in line for the throne because of this bloodline problem. So Ea, geneticist scientist, he gets shipped off to Tiamat to keep an eye on Zeus and ALAL. ENLIL is Lord of Command. He also gets placed in Tiamat. It also gets rid of these guys because Anu wants the throne in Ar. So ENLIL is Lord of Command, warriors, because they have just, if you think about starships and Star Wars. Never liked the shows, but so ENLIL is Lord of the Skyways, and he also trains Zeus. Zeus becomes a very good warrior. He's trained in the ENKI Wars, and he's also another Beck Master. So you can take a look at Terra Papers 1. He goes into detail about how his name gets changed because he gets all these titles of being a good warrior. So Zeus earns a Supreme Master title of being a Grand Warrior. Now Anu's worried about the revenge of Zeus, so he makes him cupbearer, and but nothing worked. He's always feared about being overthrown at the Aster Palace by Zeus. It just seems to be what they do in the family. So Anu's worried. Zeus is the cupbearer at Aster. ENLIL's not happy at Tiamat. He's too far away from the palace. And the ENKI, which are the warriors, they have their own families in Eridu. ALAL wanted total control of Eridu, and that would be his grand uncle or whatever, because that's Anu's uncle, grandfather. So Ea and ENLIL are at Tiamat, and Anu keeps the throne at Aster for a time. Now Eridu, there's some feuding there. That's Eridu is Tiamat, which is the new solar system called Jrgenius. There's feuding between Ea and ENLIL, as usual. Both wanted complete control of Eridu, and then Anu takes Zeus with him to go and keep an eye on Zeus while he goes and tries to solve this problem with his two sons. So he goes to Eridu. Now Zeus says that his warrior buddies, the ENKI, want to have a party for him, so he takes off, and Anu makes sure that he has a lot of warrior protection around Zeus to keep an eye on him, and goes to resolve this problem with Ea and ENLIL. So what he does is they manage to choose lots, and ENLIL wins. He gets to be in power, and then Ea, as usual, he does all the work. He's the geneticist scientist, and he doesn't get power. So Anu, as he's about to board the ship to go back to the Aster Palace, they use these big planets, hollowed out planets, as ships. They kind of take orbit. So they call this this huge ship the Royal AR. It's a flagship, hollowed out planet. So he takes a little ship and he's on his way to go back to this huge AR flagship. And Zeus and his warriors, the ENKI warriors, have captured this Royal AR. So Anu's warned about this attack on his flagship, and as he's going up, Zeus strikes his small ship. Anu's forces are overwhelmed, and they flee to the stars on escort ships, while his defenders, which Anu's defenders are called the Dak warriors, they end up dying. So Zeus and the ENKI Beck warriors, they take over the solar system. ALAL Kingdom supports him, which is his grandfather. The Anu loyalists are neutralized because they've captured the AR ship, and now they have the ALAL Kingdom, which is Tiamat, Eridu, and it's back in the hands of Zeus. Zeus names his palace Olympus, and it's a place of Al and Zu, and Eridu is his. Mount Olympus is on Mars, so they said that there was reptilians on Mars. This is an aside. Reptilian cross dog hybrids. So if they're merging with the reptilian snake queens and the Canis dog star Sirius kings, you're going to end up with these. The Sumerian tablets have pictures of these these large lizard dog type things that would have come out from these unions. So they would be quite large. The Babylonian clay tablets have the battle of Anu Kumarbi, and is also known as Zeus. So they've changed the names to mess us up with history, but that's basically how things went with that. So Zeus, it didn't try out for long. Anu's back at the Aster Palace. He's enraged. He orders another flagship, an AR flagship, ready for war. This is AR2. And then Zeus is ready with the first AR flagship and his warriors. And before Anu comes in to attack Zeus again at his palace, Mount Olympus now, his flagship gets engulfed with the warriors, even before he gets into the Eridu star system. So there's this huge break, and I'm going to go into part 2 for the Star Wars of AR1 and AR2. They face each other, and they go full charge. So I'll be back with the next part of the Terra papers. This would be Terra papers